A $10,000 raise should feel like financial progress, yet most people feel exactly the same 3 months later. Not because the money vanished, but because your brain quietly reassigned it, and the mechanism doing it operates before the paycheck even arrives. If you've ever celebrated a raise, then wondered why nothing changed, that moment probably felt familiar. So where did the extra money actually go? In a minute, you'll see the two psychological patterns behind it: mental accounting and reference point adaptation, and why modern spending systems accelerate the shift faster than your awareness catches up. Let's walk through exactly how a raise disappears. Meet Alex, who just received a $10,000 salary increase after a strong year. At first, the raise feels huge, like breathing room finally arrived. The first change is small: dinner out twice a week instead of once. Then the apartment listing appears $350 more per month, but still affordable now. 3 weeks later, the car lease gets upgraded. None of these decisions feel reckless. Each one feels justified by the raise, and by the end of the quarter, Alex's bank balance looks almost identical to before. So why does this happen even when people understand the math? Start with the first mechanism: mental accounting. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler described how people mentally divide money into categories instead of viewing it as one pool. Your brain doesn't see income. It sees labeled buckets: rent money, lifestyle money, fun money, savings money. When income rises, those buckets don't simply expand evenly. New buckets appear, or existing ones quietly inflate. And that's where things get interesting. Because raises rarely feel like extra money. They feel like permission. Permission to upgrade your apartment, permission to replace the car sooner, permission to order food instead of cooking. This pattern has a name in behavioral economics: lifestyle inflation. But lifestyle inflation isn't just spending more. It's redefining what normal life costs. Once the baseline shifts, the previous lifestyle suddenly feels restrictive, which means reversing the change feels like losing something. That reaction is driven by another bias: loss aversion. Studies from behavioral economists show people experience losses about twice as strongly as gains. So downgrading your lifestyle psychologically feels worse than the raise felt good, which means the new baseline becomes sticky. But here's the part most people miss: the shift often happens before the raise even arrives. Your brain anticipates the income and begins adjusting expectations. Behavioral research calls this reference point adaptation. The moment you expect higher income, your normal standard resets. And suddenly your old lifestyle feels temporary. This is why people often upgrade housing within months of a raise. Housing alone can absorb most salary increases. For example, increasing rent by $400 per month consumes nearly $4,800 annually. Add a slightly nicer car payment, more travel, more dining, and the raise is already spoken for. Yet nothing about these decisions feels dramatic. They feel incremental. Small upgrades layered across everyday life. Here's the pattern interrupt: raises rarely disappear through one big decision. They disappear through 20 small ones, and each one feels harmless in isolation. But stacked together, they redefine your financial baseline. This is also why higher earners often feel just as financially stretched, because expectations scale with income. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You run faster, but the feeling of progress stays in the same place. So what does this mean for the way we think about raises? First, it reframes the idea that income alone solves financial stress. Income helps, but psychology determines how the income is absorbed. Second, it explains why two people with identical salaries can experience completely different financial pressure. One person's baseline expands quickly, another person's baseline stays stable longer. The difference isn't discipline, it's awareness of the pattern. Because once you see mental accounting at work, you start noticing the buckets forming: the new apartment bucket, the upgraded lifestyle bucket, the quiet expectation bucket. And that awareness alone changes how raises feel. Instead of disappearing automatically, the raise becomes visible, which is the moment financial progress becomes intentional rather than accidental. And that's why the original $10,000 raise often disappears, not in your bank account, but in your expectations. Drop a comment if you've ever noticed this pattern after getting a raise. I break down financial psychology like this every week. If this clicked for you, there's more where this came from. Next time we're diving into why people with $150,000 salaries still feel broke and the hidden spending system behind it.